But for me, the not being accessible part has been great for me. Because I remember having a conversation with my Aunt Pepper, and I'm like, oh, everybody calls me, like something happens, or people call me and say I need to get a hold of this person's in the hospital, this person, and she was like, because everybody can access you.
Yeah,
you know what I'm trying to say. I can't say it. Get access to you.
Yeah.
And I was just like, and it took me a long time. And for my husband to say, you need to stop because you are not getting what you are giving. People can come and be like, hey, I need somebody to do this, such and such. And I'm like, let me make a call and he was like,
but when
you gotta stop. But when
yeah.
it's time,
it's hard.
It is hard.
It's hard.
It's really hard when you go through things and you want a certain person or need a certain person, and you've been there. Just like when, for me, there's been times when I've been like, I need to call Tay in the middle of the night, or I need to call somebody in the middle of the night, and I just like, I try to be mindful of people's jobs and people's husbands and people's kids.
Everybody ain't like that, girl.
But they're not. And so when I've had friends, you've lost your brother, and you called me in the middle of the night, and I was there. But what I started doing was turning my ringer off.
Oh yeah.
I never have my ringer on. The only time I have my ringer on is when I'm on call, and I still have my do not disturb on. So me having control of saying I'm not picking up the phone, I'm not answering the phone. I just can't. Those relationships, you have to say, okay, I can't do it anymore. Right. You know, and it's true. It is. I like being able to go where I want to go. Right. If I say, Joe, I'm going to Oklahoma for 3 days like I did last week, I'm out. Peace. Wow. Right. So I love it. It really helps me because I'm not far, but I'm far enough. Right. You know what I mean? Right. Like, I'm far enough, but I had to learn to spend more time with myself. I had to learn to sit down and say, okay, Ebony, you have strayed away from who you are. I've had to make adjustments with being a wife. I've had to make adjustments with blending my families. I've had to make adjustments with even being a homeowner. But I've had conversations with my husband that says, you know what, I am straying away from who I am, and I'm doing too much, breaking. I'm trying to bend a little bit, but I'm starting to break, and I can't do this anymore. Right. And so I had to say, okay, when someone comes to me and says something to me or asks me, I used to be straightforward, like didn't care, like I was just so vocal, and I stopped being that way because I was too busy, like, oh, I hurt somebody's feelings, and it did a number. Away from you. It takes
every
away
time
from
we do that. It takes away from ourselves.
And just the different types of relationships that you have, you're trying to juggle things, and you're not wanting to hurt people, and you're trying to let things go, and it's really hard. But I've learned from that to say, just say
that built your character and gave you the wisdom that you needed to.
Just say what it is, no matter whether or not it's gonna hurt somebody's feelings. Like, you need to say what you mean and mean what you say. You have to, because I can have those conversations with my kids, right? And I can have those conversations with my husband. But when you have close family members. I was gonna have a conversation with my cousin about something that happened 7 years ago when I went to Oklahoma, and I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it because I was like, am I being petty because that was 7 years ago? But it's from 7 years, it's still bothering me, Tay. Like, my heart is still hurt. And this is my cousin. Like, this is my first cousin. She's like my sister. And I was hurt when she did what she did to me, because I was like, I would never do you like that. Right. But there's also times when I've had to say, you need to just be quiet.
Yeah, that's wisdom.
You just have to be quiet.
I'm the queen of that.
And I had so many opportunities last week to sit down with her and say, I need to talk to you. But I had to think, okay, am I doing? Is it right? Is it
right? What is it gonna?
What is it gonna accomplish?
Excuse me.
By me telling her this for something that happened 7 years ago, but I just let it go and I just loved on her and said, you know what? I just need to just forget about it. So you always have to choose your battles.
That's right.
You know, you always have to say, is this something that you want to argue about? Is this something that you want to get your point? And I am not to keep saying my husband because I love my husband.
I love her.
But I'm learning by being a wife. I'm learning with him. He's teaching me a lot about being more open and saying, okay, do you think that maybe I overreacted, or maybe, you know, or if I yelled or if I said something, I might have hurt his feelings or I was wrong. I have to go to him and say I'm wrong.
Giving you that balance.
He's giving me that balance, and so I'm learning. You know, and it is a learning experience, and it's humbling. Because you're like, hey man, I did not want to be that.
Right.
I didn't want to feel that. I didn't mean to do that, or I didn't mean to say that, or you'll say something and the perception of it is totally changed. So you have to be that person to go to whoever and say, this is how I feel.
I think that
because there are no safe spaces.
I think, man, listen, you have to cherish the little pockets that you find. I think that at the end of the day, it goes back to what you said, and it's a good point to end on, is that you gotta just say what you mean and mean what you say. And in this season of my life, my goal and what I think about is the people that I am connected to, the people who are blessed enough to still be connected to me. I'm just kidding. But I'm like, what I need from those people is what I strive to be for them. You know what I mean? Like, if I know that sometimes I need to be able to go into my introverted self. So when I see somebody slipping into their introverted self or being, you know, taking time away, I'm gonna give them that opportunity to do that. If I see somebody that I know that usually is stable and is good and they spazzing out, I'm gonna give them that space and love on them and just be to them what I know that I need at times. And a lot of people are just hella selfish, but we could save that for another conversation. But I just want to tell you thank you.
You're welcome.
I love you dearly.
This was fun.
Yeah, you know. And the one thing that I love about you is at the end of the day, you've always represented class and dignity. And I just love you and I appreciate you. Give me that.
I appreciate you too. Thank you. I love you.
I love you. You too, girl.
Thank you.
That's a wrap.
Okay.